Meditation Monday, episode 4. Welcome. This meditation is going to be a little bit of a continuation from episode 3. So if you haven't checked out episode 3, I suggest that you go back and take a quick look at that one. But to summarize it, it was talking about shifting from quick term solutions and quick fixes to more of a longer term plan, because we're alive on this planet for a long time, so to plan accordingly. In society these days, it can be seen as though there are quick fixes and quick solutions, but in reality it takes a long time to establish changes to our patterns and our behaviors and change our neural links and our neural channels that control our behaviors. I'll give you a quick example of how that works because it just happened to me 10 minutes ago. I'm at my local park. This is where I come and film these videos, and this park is on the way, or it's in between a spot where I walk the dogs. So when I'm driving the car, it's built into my neural pathways that I'm driving to the spot to drive. And you've probably had this experience when you drive in the car yourself. You go into the grocery store and you go into what I like to refer to as autopilot. You get there and you think, I don't really remember driving for the last 10-15 minutes. Your body just goes into this automatic mode of doing things. And so this morning, I drove right past the park and was heading up to where we walk the dogs. And my wife reminded me we missed the turn off. So I had to turn around, and that reminded me of how deeply embedded these patterns and these channels that we just become an autopilot in our lives. So to be conscious, to make ourselves aware of these things, we're going to really make the most of life. Otherwise, we might wake up when we're 40 or 50 years old and go, what just happened? Or even older, and think, what just happened to the last 20, 30 years? Because it can go like that. So we talked last week about these long-term solutions and looking at our goals and our aims, and then assessing our current reality. And in order to make these changes, making very small adjustments. And to follow on from that, you've decided I'm going to make this 1 or 2 little changes in my routine in order to build towards this longer term goal or aim that you've set for yourself. Or just a new pattern of behavior that you'd like to formulate. One of the most challenging parts about this is that there's going to be times where you don't have the energy, or you might not have the willpower, or you might also go into this automatic mode of thinking or this pattern of behavior that's already been established, kind of like I did with missing the turn off for the park. You might just go back to the old pattern of behavior. One of the most challenging parts about being a human being is that we're our own biggest critics. And it's very important in times that happens to not beat yourself up about it, to just accept it, look at it and say, oh wow, that's a learning lesson, and move on. If you dwell on the past, or you dwell and you get into a cycle of thinking negatively about yourself, this is very detrimental to yourself, and the only person it's really going to affect is yourself. It might affect other people around you if you're in a bad mood or you're being negative, but ultimately it's just self-sabotaging yourself. So this week I'd like to share a technique that I've used. I came up with this a few years ago and it's really helped me in a lot of different things, and it involves a little bit of visualization, thinking about yourself in a future context, because willpower alone isn't going to be enough to make changes over a long period of time, because willpower takes a lot of energy, and sometimes you just might not have the energy. So you might, I'll just do that next time. I'm just going to leave it, or you might forget. So to visualize yourself in the future and do things for that future self. The person that you are in the morning is different than the person you are in the afternoon, who's then different from the person you are in the evening. But yourself now, you're a different person than one you was 10 years ago, and you'll also be a different person than in 10 years in the future. So think about the place you want to be, and then think about that person that you want to be, and do the things for that person. Because in the current moment, you might not have the motivation, but if you do it for that future self, you'll then start to build trust, and you'll start to build positivity towards yourself. So I'll give you an example that, this is a simple example, that's one example of how this technique has helped me. I wanted to make a marginal adjustment so I would get more time in the mornings. So I would wake up in the mornings and I would usually do the dishes. And I thought, I want to do the dishes at night time, so when I wake up in the morning, the dishes are done, the house is clean, because a cluttered space is a cluttered mind. So if the space is clean and the day starts off in a clean environment, your mind can also start in a clean, positive, free from clutter environment. So at night time, obviously I don't want to do the dishes. I want to go to bed, I'm tired. But in that moment, willpower alone wasn't enough to get me to do the dishes. So I would envision my morning self. I would envision myself in the morning, waking up, and the dishes are done. So then when I would do the dishes, I would not necessarily do it for myself in that moment, I would do it for my future self in the morning. And then when the morning came about and I woke up and the dishes were done, I'd thank myself, and I'd build positivity within myself and a positive relationship with myself. So we can practice this right now, because our meditation, we're going to do our 1 minute of silence and deep breathing. And you might not want to do this. I'm going to skip this part of the video. I don't want to do the minute. But just envision yourself in 90 seconds from now. It's a very short time. 90 seconds. We'll put this to the test. And your 90-second future self is going to be thankful that you've taken the time to relax. And you might even think, I needed that minute just to settle down, take a deep breath. Because life can become very overwhelming very fast, and you can always pick up on different energies and things around you. So to reset, recalibrate is always a good idea. So stick with this. We're going to do 1 minute and put this visualization, thinking of the future self, to the test. So wherever you are, if you're sitting down, sit up nice and tall, bring the shoulders back, open the chest. You can keep the eyes open or close the eyes down. And just begin to breathe in through the nose, bringing awareness to the breath. And just deepen the inhale and deepen the exhale. And we're going to do this for 1 minute. So focusing on the breath. You'll hear my voice again in 1 minute. Gently open your eyes if they were closed, and make sure to thank yourself for taking that time to do something that was a minute, that was positive for your future self, which is now your current self. So you can thank your past self, build positivity, go out, be awesome. Please like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.